week's episode of One Piece, the true lineage of Momonosuke is revealed, and Raizo the ninja finally emerges from the shadows, and he might not be what you were expecting. This week's episode of One Piece excelled at something that I think the original Dragon Ball anime series perfected in the early 90s, which is the stationary reaction shot of every single character in the scene. This was not the most exciting episode of One Piece, where basically only 3 things happened. Jack is getting ready to head back to Zou to kick all sorts of ass. Momonosuke is revealed to not be the son of Kinemon, but the son of Odin, the leader of the Kozuki clan, who has close ties with the Mink tribe, and even someone else very important from the series. More on that later. And then the Straw Hat Pirates finally get to meet Raizo the ninja. And Raizo is kind of disappointing in some senses. I guess everybody from the Wano Kingdom just looks like a freaking Japanese caricature. Before we move on to Raizo, let's talk about what is arguably the biggest revelation of this episode, that Kinemon is not the father of Momonosuke. Momonosuke is actually the heir to the Kozuki clan, which means he's basically the biggest higher up on the island. Both Master Cat Viper and Duke Dogstorm bow and prostrate themselves before Momonosuke. Now, what I really love about this scene is that it's a huge revelation for the Straw Hat Pirates, but Luffy doesn't give a crap about any of this. I love the fact that he doesn't treat Momonosuke any differently. He doesn't treat him like he's on some sort of pedestal. He just sort of still picks on him and they still have a lot of fun. Again, showing that Luffy lives by his own way. He truly is the most free pirate in the entire series. Not to mention, we got a lot of fan service from Nami and Robin in this episode when Momonosuke decided to jump right into their dirty pillows. Never have I wanted to be Momonosuke more than in those scenes. The other big importance of the scene, of course, is that Master Cat Viper and Duke Dogstorm have decided to put their differences aside in order to look good in front of Momonosuke. They're not going to connect with each other, but they're at least going to communicate. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, we are formally introduced to Raizo, who's actually been locked up in this hidden cavern, which is in the tail of the massive whale tree. And, of course, Luffy, Chopper, Usopp, and Frankie included are really pumped up to see this ninja, and they build it up so much. You're ready to see this character, and I have to admit, when I was reading this in the manga version, I was really excited for this, because my first thought was, man, we need another new Straw Hat. We got Carrot here, we got Pedro, we got all these Mink tribe members, but a ninja. How awesome would it be to have a ninja on the pirate crew? Although, after seeing him in the manga, don't really want him to be a member of the crew, because frankly, he's just a big, ridiculous-looking character. Raizo is a ninja, but just like Kanjuro, he's just such an extreme caricature and stereotype of old-school ninja that he just looks way too goofy. He's entirely disproportionate, and frankly kind of reminds me of Wario. Raizo himself, just like the other samurai, are incredibly passionate, and unfortunately he is tied up because they don't want him to be caught, they don't want him to get involved with the battles, and he's very upset when he learns that all of this destruction was caused simply for him being there. It's a really sad moment for his character, but it's also funny just to see Luffy and his friends' reaction to Raizo. They seem incredibly disappointed. It's not the ninja that they were expecting. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? Really, that's all I have to say. My only problem with this episode is that it was stretched just way too thin. There were just way too many still shots of the characters and just reacting without like any dialogue or anything. Like I said, the biggest moment had to be with Momonosuke and the interaction that he had with Luffy. I just really liked it. It was a very humbling moment because Luffy's not just going to get on his knees for the king. He's just going to continue to do his own thing and show his own respect towards Momonosuke, which is basically just goofing around with him. And there is certainly a lot of goofing around in this episode. It's also really cool that Jack is going to be coming back, just letting us know that there is still going to be danger on the horizon. And despite the fact that things are looking real hunky-dory right now, they need to strap themselves in because Jack is ready to kick some ass. And then there's Raizo, who just, you know, in the manga version, he disappointed me just because of his appearance. He is a funny character, but we have a lot of those in the One Piece series. And there are times when they can take a really funny character and make him into something really badass. But with Raizo, it just comes across as just way too goofy for me, personally. Still, though, we still haven't even really seen what he's, like, fully capable of, even in the manga version. So who knows? Raizo might actually surprise me in the future. I might be jumping the gun here. But I can't wait to see that. I just do think it is kind of a trollish move that they've been building up Raizo this entire time, and when we're finally introduced to him, he's just this big-headed crying moron. It's just really damned funny. So, this was an okay episode of One Piece. Even though it was okay, there was some big information which was dropped in this episode, especially because apparently there is going to be some sort of connection between Odin and maybe even Roger's crew. That's subtly hinted at by Master Cat Viper and Duke Dogstorm in this episode, but they're going to keep that hush-hush for now. But if you want to learn more details about that, just make sure to stay tuned for the next couple episodes of One Piece. They will make everything clear. So, I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. I just thought it was an okay average episode. Like I said, just a little too long-winded for my taste, but it's definitely an episode of One Piece which all fans should definitely watch once, because there is some crucial information that is dropped in this one, and if only just to see the reactions from people who only watch the anime version of just seeing Raizo for the first time. So, 3 out of 5 for me, but if any of you did watch the episode, please tell me what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think of Raizo? Do you like his goofy design? Were you slightly disappointed by it? What do you want to see from the rest of this One Piece arc? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will see you next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.